Hello and welcome to another episode of GOA365's Face to Face. Now this is state budget time, so we are doing a series of programs on episodes and meeting people from various walks of the economy and those who run the Goan economy. So today we are speaking to somebody who is one of the main guys in the real estate business. Today, with mining taking a backseat, tourism and real estate are the main economic drivers of the state. So Nilesh Salkar, welcome Nilesh to our show.
Hello.
He is the chair of the real estate wing of the GCCI. So Nilesh, to start off, simply, what is your wish list for this budget?
Every year we have a wish list for the government. Our wish list this year consists of these things. We start with the reduction in stamp duty. We feel that then 8% stamp duty for properties valued.
First you read out, then we'll go into details of each one.
Reduction in stamp duty, reduction in the recently notified land rates. We have requested for support for infrastructure development. We have requested for digitization and automation of land records and approvals. Then we have requested for special incentives for redevelopment projects. So those are the major things. Apart from that, 24-hour transport, public transport, that is also on the cards, because the moment you have a 24-hour, people can travel, people can live further away and then travel to work. That will reduce the load in the cities. So we have made some very positive suggestions to the government. A lot of time the government has accepted our suggestions, and this year we hope that they will agree to our requests.
Okay, starting from the bottom side, see, because this transportation is a huge issue, and today it should not actually be an issue because we have a very good road transport system, at least in the state.
We have a very good road network.
On highways.
No, even internally the roads are
they're not in such good shape.
They're all right. If you compare them to the rest of the city, rest of the country, we are still at least 50% better off. But the problem is we do not have last mile connectivity with public transport. Like you can probably get a bus to a village.
The shuttles.
But from a village to your house, or if your house is just a kilometer away, then you may not get anything. So the government has to work on providing the last mile connectivity in houses, to the villages, to the cities. So if that happens now, a lot of people will prefer to live in the villages and travel to the cities every day.
Also, transport system, like you have a shuttle. Say, for example, we have a shuttle from Margaon to Panjim. A lot of people from Margaon are working in Panjim and vice versa. So, from Panjim to Margaon, the buses are amazing, very good. The roads are good and all. Now, from the bus stand to get, say, assume my office is in Panjim is, say like 8 kilometers, 7 kilometers from the bus stand. Now that is an issue. For why villages, even in cities it's an issue. There are city buses, no doubt.
There is development. Like Panjim is seeing now electric
those EV buses.
It's a very successful project.
Well, so Panjim, capital, the other.
Yeah, but it takes time. No? We always say that some project has to be tried out somewhere first. If it is successful, then it can be replicated.
But this will be very, very good for the real estate.
If it can be done, it will be a boon to Goa.
The real estate sector today also, that load on the cities won't happen.
Will be reduced, that's right.
Fair enough. That in whatever everybody shouting about water and thing and all. Okay, second thing is, let's go to the first, the real estate, the stamp duty and registration fee. You think it's too high? 8%,
that means for it, and when we are talking of taxes, now it is not only the stamp duty and registration fee that is a part of your house. The major component is the GST.
I see. For stamp paper?
Not for stamp duty, but for a construction.
I see. Materials.
Construction materials are ranging between 18% to 28% on GST.
I see.
Okay, it forms quite a substantial part of the construction cost. And to make matters worse, we are not even allowed input credit.
Why?
On this GST. No, it's a GST policy. Over and above that, we are expected to charge the customers a 5% GST for houses that are more than 45 lakhs in value.
Which is every house in Goa.
It's almost every house in Goa.
Almost every house.
Okay, so on an average, you would end up paying, let us average out the GST between 18 and 28% to, let us say, 23%. 23% is the average GST that you will pay, that the developer will pay to the contractor. And he will charge another 5% to the customer. So the total GST that the government makes is 23 plus 5, almost 28% on every sale.
30%, one third.
One third of the thing almost goes into taxes. Over and above that, you have other taxes like the stamp duty registration. There is an infrastructure tax. There is a building cess. We pay a very steep conversion sanad fee. We pay construction license fees. Okay, we pay and other development charges.
These are all legal fees.
These are all legal fees.
Yes.
So if you add up all that, we will come close to about 35% in taxes. I'm leaving aside the direct taxes like income tax and things like that.
No, that is different. So on every lakh, all these taxes come around 35,000.
35,000.
That is a lot.
By hook or by whichever way. This is the amount that is paid. And once this is the taxes, there is no way that the cost of construction, cost of selling an apartment be reduced, because these taxes form a very major part of it.
So that means even for a local, that the rates are between 1 crore. So out of, like, suppose it's 1 crore, 35 lakhs has gone into taxes.
In GST,
whatever,
in
yeah,
GST, indirect taxes, let us call them.
So you want, the industry wants it
we
reduced.
have been representing to the government to reduce them, because there is a GST council, and CREDA and GCCI as associations do engage with the government, giving our feedback on why they should be reduced. So this is a year-long process. It crystallizes closer to the budget times, but the process is continuous. The GST council meets every month or every 2 months.
Yeah, correct.
So, and they take a call on this.
Yes. Okay.
If you are doing a JV, then even that JV attracts a GST.
How is that?
that is the law at the moment.
I see.
Supposing you are a landowner, I am a developer, we get into a joint development agreement. That agreement will also attract an 18% GST.
I see. So that means basically the person whose land is, he has to pay the 18%.
See, now that is a matter of discussion. Whether you will pay or I will pay. But the onus of paying it lies on the developer.
Some landowner will say, why should I pay? Normally that's what happens. Second thing, I think if I'm not thinking, you all were talking about infrastructure. What exactly you meant by that? What you had asked?
See, the government charges us an infrastructure tax.
Okay.
So by definition, infrastructure is provision of electricity, water, roads, sewerage connections, and other things. But what really happens is, whenever we go to the departments asking for connections, electricity connections or water connections, they say that there is not sufficient, the transformer doesn't have sufficient capacity. So they will ask us to provide a transformer.
New transformer.
If there is no connectivity of the water line, they will ask us to pay for the line from a certain point to this. Now this is an additional cost to us because we have already paid for the infrastructure tax.
Correct.
So
absolutely.
over and above that, we are required to pay this. So it just adds up to a lot of unforeseen costs. They are not unforeseen, but unestimated costs, sort of, because we never know how much charge it will be to get the line, from what point it has to be taken. So it becomes very difficult to estimate things, and it takes a lot of time because the files have to move to the government. They make estimates. Over an estimate, they charge us a 15% supervision fee over and above the estimate. So the charges just keep mounting.
Fair enough. So this infrastructure, anyway, see, infrastructure, most of the highways that are built are from central fund, not state funds. So basically this infrastructure tax is for the state government, right?
Yes, it is the state fund.
So the state is supposed to provide infrastructure for X, Y, Z and whoever
so now they even made septic
water harvesting,
harvesting, sewerage treatment plants compulsory for a unit that has more than 24 flats.
So that is
finally who all these costs is added to the customer. No?
Correct. Obviously. Yeah. Fair enough. Now, another point that I wanted to bring up, which is the point that you had spoken about, is this redevelopment. What do you mean by that?
No, redevelopment is a big business all over the country at the moment. See, most of our buildings were constructed in the 70s and 80s, so it's almost 50 years. So that is a normal lifespan. 50 to 60 years is a normal lifespan of a RCC building. So those buildings are in bad shape. There is no parking over there.
Most of them don't have parking. That's a big thing.
That was the law at that point of time. So today,
and then so much of density of vehicles also was not there.
So now to make those redevelopment financially viable, we are requesting the government to give us some additional FAR, which the government has done. Like in some cases, they've even agreed to 300 FAR 300, so that the project becomes viable for somebody, because the actual owners of the flat are not expected to pay for their flats, but they want new flats. They sometimes want additional areas. So to make the project financially viable, you need additional FAR. Now, when you get additional FAR, it comes with its own set of problems, because on the same plot, you are now increasing the density 3 times. So you will need bigger setbacks, you will need better parking, you will need more water, you will need more electricity, you will need better sewerage connections. So if the government is prepared for all this and then gives this type of thing, it will be a boon to the city.
See, half of the cities of Goa, since we are talking about Goa, say you talk about Margao, you talk about Panjim, you talk about Vasco, and even to a larger extent, a smaller extent, Mapsa, at least 50% of the buildings, probably 50-60% of the buildings are very old.
Yes.
Half of them, their parking is on the roads, on public roads, which creates huge parking issues. So that is, I think that is should be quite a priority. Like these owners and the developers should be given some sort of a incentive to actually
that policy is still being worked out. Like some places they have given it.
That is on case-to-case basis. I'm talking as a policy.
It is a policy. That is why it is being given on a case-to-case basis.
Nilesh Babu, I will go in for a short break. We'll go in for a short break. We'll see you on the other side. Keep watching. Welcome back. Yeah, as you were talking about Nilesh Babu, about the redevelopment, because lot of old buildings are there, and the majority of them, especially in cities and all, have got parking issues. There's no parking, no provision for parking.
See, these are planning issues. If the government pays a little more attention to detail and planning, we can overcome these issues. This is not
major
not
issues.
Major things, but it has to be done before you announce this policy. So if I am redeveloping a building, I know what is the parking requirement. What if I am not able to provide it on my site? Can the government acquire some, like put in a multi-level parking lot somewhere? Of course, the developers can pay for it. So maybe some solutions like this can be worked out. And if it happens, the whole city gets a new look. If you've been to Singapore recently, they have renovated and redeveloped almost the entire city in segments. They start over here, then they finish this, then they come to the next one. So there has to be a planned approach to all this.
Mumbai also, even Dharavi is getting developed. I don't know. But it's important. Why? Because such a large amount of people live in these older buildings, and as far as like so many people come to, they want it redeveloped because the buildings are in bad shape, and then you can't do much there, and you have to park on the road, and you have to park here, and you have to park there, and then there are parking fights, and then there are chunks falling down from here. I think that it has to be prioritized. What you feel? As a builder, as a general,
high on the priority, and the government also has been very supportive in considering a lot of our suggestions.
But it has to be pushed, and it has to be restarted.
We are pushing it.
So that is one of the important things. What else you feel that you all need as an industry for it to actually, for it to move smoothly? Because Goa
we
is
need
today
a lot of rationalization in the rules, in methodologies of approvals and things like that. Digitalization. Now you will be surprised. The survey records in Goa are very nicely digitized.
It's all over India. It's a thing.
So it's a very good thing. You can get everything at the click of a button.
Yeah.
Okay. Then up to 5 small plots. It's a pilot project by the TCP department where up to 500 square meters of plots you are getting online approvals. That's also a very effective way of thinking. The next step would be up to 5,000 square meters. I think the government is still working on that, and if they get in something like that, again it will reduce a lot of time in the approvals. Then
500 square meter plot or 500 square meter build up?
See, at the moment, it is restricted to a plot which is 500 square meters in a subdivided area, in a subdivision. So you have these subdivisions. You have a bigger chunk of land and you make smaller plots by putting in road. So approvals in those plots are currently with under this online approval. But there is also a notary scheme, notary architect scheme, where they can do it for smaller houses. Ground plus one houses up to 500 square meters or something like that. Like how you have notary advocates, government has appointed notary architects. This scheme has been going on for quite some time now. So for an individual house, like if you are building your own house, you need not go to the department. You can just go to this notary architect and he can approve the thing for you.
As long as it's around 500 square meters.
Below 500 square meters and ground plus one story structures. I may be a little wrong on these nitty-gritties, but it is there. It's available online. You can check with the department. They will be happy to help you.
So these are some of the
positive signs.
What else would you all need for? Because see, construction ultimately, a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people get benefited. It's a lot of locals today.
In my opinion, if the government departments act in coordination with each other, they can save a lot of time and effort.
That is a gripe of most industries all over the country. Probably not in Goa only. I don't know. Probably it's all over the world. Who knows?
See, because to be honest, when we approach the government for permissions, it usually takes us 18 months to 2 years to complete a project.
To complete the project.
So the government knows 2 years in advance that this building is going to come up over here or that this project is going to be here. So why do we have to wait till the building is complete to process the applications for water, for electricity, for sewerage? And when we are already paying you the infrastructure tax right in the beginning. So we are paying infrastructure tax at the time of a PDA approval or a TCP approval. So from that time till the completion of the project is a minimum of 2 years. It could take 2.5 years, but a minimum of 2 years. So the government has enough time to make provisions for all this. Not only that, we take NOCs from PWD water, PWD electricity
while getting the file passed.
So every department is aware that there is a project coming up over there.
Theoretically, at least.
Theoretically. Not theoretically, practically everybody knows. Nobody can say that I am not aware. But in spite of that, the whole machinery starts working only after the occupancy certificate is issued.
So then you have to reapply for everything
all over again. So then from that point to the actual handing over is another 2-3 months time. So if these things can be coordinated, now it will help us a lot.
This RERA also, is it a good thing or a bad thing? And just slight diversion of topic.
See, to be honest, in Goa we never had this type of problem where people, minor cases.
Delays were there. Most maximum delays. Nobody just ran away.
In Goa we never had that problem. But this RERA was basically created because of the NCR and areas, Gurgaon and
those were crazy.
Really, even now the problem over there isn't resolved. But in Goa we are not facing so much. I am not really aware how many cases are actually there, but I don't think they are much.
But Nilesh Bab, you have to admit, all those big builders from Delhi and all, they are in Goa today. They are building 10-15 acre plots. I don't know if like Goans are building, but these guys are building huge plots. There's so many. I'm not going to.
See, we have our limitations.
We
have our limitations on marketing, on
but these guys are coming here. So
that's what I'm saying. They don't have limitations as far as funding is concerned, or for example, marketing is going to. Marketing takes a lot of cost.
I don't know if they don't have, because if they didn't have, then they wouldn't shut down and run away. So many of them.
In Goa, nobody is run away.
As yet, because it's still.
So they may have been stopped because of violations of TCP Act, but otherwise not many people have abandoned projects in Goa.
True. Probably because Goa has still got that hype that people want to come to Goa. But if we start, little off topic, but if we start cutting trees and making it like Delhi and Bombay, that might happen. Okay. Besides this, like what else for it to move? I'm talking about long term. Now we are talking about
we should have a very
sustainable water harvesting.
All those things are coming in now.
But nothing is being implemented.
No, see, the green building concept is a very nice concept where almost everybody started using it. In fact, the government is even incentivizing it by way of additional FAR and things like that. So it's a positive step again.
Very positive.
It is a step again. Most of the things are actually being utilized. For example, your fittings that used to come earlier, like say for example toilet flushes, or water faucets. So now they all come with aerators which require lesser water. Same thing with your flushing cisterns or your kitchen taps. All of them now use lesser water than what we were using some time ago. One thing the government can do is actually start providing recycled water or treated water for flushing purposes and gardening
washing
purposes.
cars, all these things.
So because the government already runs STP plants, so they will be having a lot of spare water. They can either supply it through a blue line or a grey line, or supply that to industries which don't require treated water. A lot of industries just require water for cooling and other purposes.
Correct.
So where there is no human contact, so you can supply this water over there. So if the government does this, then the requirement of fresh water for the public will reduce.
Also, there is a lot of construction, these bigger constructions and all, they use a lot of groundwater. That is going to, in the long run,
see,
is going
those
to affect.
regulations are also in place. Now, today you cannot sink a well or a bore well without the permission of the WRD.
Correct.
Water Resources Development.
Correct.
So they must be following it up, or they must be charging them for it.
Correct. But the tankers are seen everywhere.
See, not everybody is in a position to make a bore well. No?
Okay.
Or even today, to make a bore well is quite a cumbersome process. It's not easy to sink a bore well today.
Okay.
Without all your permissions. Water reharvesting, all those things are.
But that's already there as far as the rules are concerned for construction.
Yeah, but
right?
it is there for construction. Newer projects are there.
Okay, older ones no.
Older projects, there's no place. But now when redevelopment kicks in, all these things will also start doing the same things.
But India is supposed to be I don't know, so many states in India by 2030 or 2040 are going to be water deficient. Goa itself, with so much of rain, like half of our places, for whatever reasons, water is not you don't get water.
I fully concede your point, and if you just go back a few decades ago, now you go to any village in Goa, you have water harvesting ponds, you have
wells, all those
not
things.
only wells, there are public water which is used for irrigation during the other.
Correct, absolutely.
So government can revive those.
Has to. It's a big problem.
Possible. It is.
See, even Keserwal, look at Keserwal Springs. It's such a mess. It should be properly done up, no? Because water is going to be an issue. See, whether construction admits or not.
If that is the case now. You look at something like Dubai, which has got no water. They are surviving very well with treated water and things like that. So it is.
But with so much of rain, should we go there?
The government has to use technology, common sense, vernacular knowledge, and we can overcome it. It's not
should
so
not.
much of an
If
issue.
that willingness
if you have
is
the
there,
will, I think it can be done.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Nilesh Bab, basically what you are saying is that things can be sorted out if it is done in a systematic way.
See,
that's your wish list.
Development cannot be stalled. You cannot.
Should not be stalled. Then it's a problem.
What you can do is regulate it. You can do it in a sustainable manner by having a long-term vision policy.
This is what is your wish list for the government, I would think. See, because even a budget, now everybody looks at a budget as figures, but it's not. A budget is a vision statement also.
Yes.
One part of it is figures, no doubt, and one part of it estimates, or whatever you call it, but it's also a vision statement. So this, Goa is blessed. It's got tourism, no doubt. It's got developed because people want to come and live here. They want to live here, or they want second houses here. You see, half of, I think Asagaon is Delhi, or he's a cantonment of Delhi. And I don't think too many Goans are doing business there also. So that's okay. So if people want to live here, they want to live here not because of concrete. They want to live here because it's a green place. It's a nice place. So ultimately, the vision statement, I think, for real estate should be that it is good, it sort of melts or gels into the environment, it's green, proper, that then it can be sustainable and for long run, don't you think, as a builder, that this is the only way it will develop?
Agree with you.
Yeah,
completely agree with you.
So this is your vision statement for the government.
No, I told you our vision statement is that development cannot be stalled, and it has to be done. Do it the right way. Do it.
Absolutely.
That is all we are asking.
Yeah.
That is what Goa is asking also.
Absolutely. I think most Goa is on the same page as you. Thanks, Nilesh Bab. We diverted a little bit, but ultimately we have to live here. I don't think we are going to the US or UK to live. So we need a good place. to live in. Thank you again, and hopefully in this budget we will see some of these things that these suggestions, these things, and also the implementation of these, so that they are actually put in place on the ground. Thank you, and keep watching Goa 365.